When you look at love, the concept of love, we feel like our dogs love us. What did you find in that?
Yeah, I mean, so love is really the hard one because that word is so loaded. We all have different interpretations of what that means. But the way I think about love, at least when we're talking about animals and dogs specifically, is the question of why do they hang around us in the first place? So the counter argument is they're just doing it for the food.
Mhm.
And as a dog lover myself, I don't believe that. So we set out to do an experiment where we looked at the reward response in their brain. So the response in particular parts that we know respond to things that we all like. And we compared how they responded to the prospect of food versus the prospect of just, their owner coming in view and saying, good girl, or something like that. So this is a contrast between food reward versus social reward.
Okay.
And what we found was that the majority of dogs responded equally, if not more so, to just the simple act of praising. And there was no food contingent at all.
And that tracked with what you saw in the fMRI machine in some animals, that what if it lit up more in some animals, they were more prone to seek out the praise instead of food?
Exactly. So in that experiment, we had, I think, about 14 dogs participating. I think all but two of them had this brain response that was equal to praise as it was to food, and only two had it the other way around, where they responded more to food. And that predicted how they behave when we gave them, what we call the Pepsi challenge version of this, where the dog is released into a room and they have to make a decision to go left or right. On one side, their owner is sitting, and on the other side, there's a food bowl. And so this brain response actually is quite predictive of these choices that the dogs make. So we think we're tapping in kind of into their intrinsic preferences. As we developed the dog project, we started wondering about other animals. And even though dogs are the only ones that we can actually train to go in the scanner completely awake, what happened was various sanctuaries and rehab facilities for animals started sending us the brains of animals who died. And so some of these included dolphins. We've studied the brains of sea lions and harbor seals, and even coyotes. And so what we're trying to do is build up what I call a brain arc, which is a digital repository of the very detailed three-dimensional structure of the brains of these other mammals. And what we're trying to do is kind of fill in the gaps in the evolutionary tree to understand, what makes a dog, or a coyote, or, a seal, a seal.